Hello friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create this kind of web map using R programming language. This is geospatial data. It has latitude and longitude, and we are going to display these variables. Here we have we can select different variables. For example, the default one here is site, and if I click on this drop down, we can see I have hearing, mobility, cognition, self-care, and speech. So now we are displaying site, and we can see the legend shows that the counties with the highest number of disability has this yellow color. This is a Viridish color, which displays a distribution of objects or data on a map. So if I go ahead and select, for example, hearing, you can see the map changes, and it is also interactive. We can see, we can zoom out, we can zoom in, we can hover over the map and see the name of the county and also the value of that kind of variable. For example, if I hover over this, you can see this is Samburu County, and the hearing here, the disability or people who have disability to hear have are 30. Then if I hover over a different county, this is Kilifi, it has also 30. This one has 70, so the highest one is 90, which is yellow. For example, this is Homa Bay, you can see it has 90. You can change to, for example, cognition, and the color of course retains, but the values changes depending on the values of different variables per county. Yeah, so this is what we are going to create. I hope you'll enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, and so let's get started. Okay, so I have created a new R project. So this is, I'm using RStudio. Make sure you have installed RStudio and also R from the necessary websites, or you can check out other videos on how to install RStudio and R. So here, first of all, I need to test if the R packages are working fine. So I can say print, and then I want to print some text. So print hello world. To run this project, here you can see it says my file is webmap.r. When you see this kind of star here or asterisk, make sure to Control S. That means that your file has not been saved, or you have edited something and you need to save your work. So if I say Control S, then you can see it saves the code here. So to run this, if you place your cursor on this line and then click on run this way, it will run your code and it will print hello world on the console. Also, I can highlight everything on this line and then I can still click on run, or the shortcut is Control Enter if you're on Windows. That is what I'm using. So the first thing we need to do is to install the packages that will help us to create this web application. The first thing is to install the packages. So I write here install the packages, install the packages. You need to install the packages like this. So to install the packages, there are two ways. First, you need to type in install.packages, then you can install the package SF, and you can repeat this way and install other packages that we are going to use. For example, the other one is leaflet, so we are going to use leaflet, and then we are going to use Shiny, which is a package that will help us to create this web application. The leaflet, of course, it will give us the map. Then the last one is Plotly. If you are going to plot something, for example graphs, pie charts, you can use Plotly, but we are not going to use that one, so there is no need to install. But if you want to advance, you can still install those kind of packages. So this is the first way to install packages. The second way is here on this sidebar, you can see we have files, plots, packages. So under packages, we have install and update. So if you like to update any package, you just click on update, then you type in the package that you're supposed to update. So if you want to install, click on install this one. It says install R packages. Then in here you can search the type of package you want to install. So if I type in SF, you will see the suggestions here. We have a lot of packages that start with SF, or at least have SF. So you click on SF, then you can see it says install. So make sure this one is checked, install dependencies, then click on install, and it will install the packages just as we do like this. So I already installed these packages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this. So I can say Ctrl+Shift+C to comment multiple lines, but then we are going to call the library. So we can say we call the libraries, or load the libraries as this. So, and to load the libraries, we need to say library, then we pass in the library without the quotes. So I say library SF, then library leaflet, and then the last one is library shiny, like this. Then I'm going to highlight them, then click on run to load these libraries. So this means they will be ready to be used in this project. Okay, so I think it has finished. The next thing is to set up the working directory. So I say set the working directory. Set the working directory, and this means that we are going to connect our project with the data sets that we are going to use. So here I'm going to first of all save, then say set wd working directory, and then I pass in the link or the directory to where I have saved my data set. So here make sure you navigate to where you saved your data, say Ctrl+C. I think I need to show you this, so let me drag this to the second screen here. So this is where I have my data set. In this folder tutorial, I have data set. So make sure you go up to data set, or where you have saved your file, until you see your data as this. Then here you need to click on this, and then you can copy this directory. Okay, then you paste in here. So this way it will not work unless you use /, but I like using the double \. So I do something like this, then I do like this, then I Control Enter. You can see it now runs successfully. If I remove if I use 1 and then enter, you see it says that this one is not recognized as, or it is recognized as an escape character. Okay, so let me go back and use 2. Okay, now I want to check what is inside my folder. So for this case, I can say get working directory, then run. I have my working directory, then I say list.files. So I want to check the files that are inside this working directory. If I click on run, I see that I have my data set. So I have the geospatial data. This is shapefile. Okay, another way you can give this working directory a variable. So you can say path, and then you say this path is this one. So path is equal to get working directory, then instead of passing in the list.files get working directory, you can just say path. You can say path, then you can run. You can say path is equal to, you can say path is equal to path. It is not working. It is not working, but I hope you get what I've said. If it doesn't work, then we can stick to what we have just used. So like this one, let me delete this. So make sure you run the get working directory, you get the working directory as this, and then you go ahead and run this so that you can see the datasets that are inside your folder. Okay, now we can go ahead and now try to check the CRS, or the coordinate reference system, for our dataset. First of all, we need to declare our variable as county data. Since this is county data, then this county data is going to be, we're going to read, so st_read. This is the way we read CSV or shapefile data in R. Then we are going to, instead of typing, we can just copy everything from here, including the quotes, because this is a string. Then we paste inside, and this way we are going to run the county data. So we have county data like so. So here, if you run, you can see we have some dimension. It tells us that this is a multi-polygon because we have several polygons, and they are 47. And then the CRS is unknown. So we are going to reproject this data to World Geodetic System, or WGS 1984. So for this case, we can do, or if another way to check this dataset CRS, you can say data underscore CRS. You can just give it a variable and then say st underscore transform, and then you pass in your county underscore data. If you do this, you can go ahead and then print data underscore CRS. Okay, so first of all, we need to run this line 20, and then we run line 21. So that way you can still see our dataset here. It has dimensions. It is a multi-polygon. That is the type of the geometry. And then the CRS, of course, we've said that it is unknown. Now to reproject this, I can say reproject the data, and then what we need to do is first of all declare our variable. We can still repeat this because it's the same data set. So I say count data is equal to st underscore transform, and then we want to use this county data, and then our CRS is going to be EPSG 4326. Okay, then I run this, then still I can print my county, print my county data like this. If I run this and check again, now you can see we have our CRS as WGS 84. So now we are okay to use this dataset because we have reprojected it to World Geodetic System. Now I think the next thing is we are going to do to perform two functionalities here. First of all, we need the UI, as I showed you. Here we need the user interface. So the user interface, and this we are going to say that we are going to say UI. We need the user interface and then the server logic. So I think I can still type in here as the server logic. So where we are going to define our functionalities to hover over to the map and click on the variables and then display on the map, change the color, the legend, depending on the polygon that we have clicked. So we are going to have first begin with the user interface, and here we can say the UI is going to be, we are going to use the fluid function from Shiny. You can see it says function for creating fluid page layouts. That means it will fit into all the screens that we have. It says a fluid page layout consists of rows, which in turn include columns. Rows exist for the purpose of making sure the elements appear on the same line. Yeah, if the browser of course has adequate width. So it will change depending on the screens that we have set on our web page. So inside the fluid, the first thing we are going to set is the title. So we can say the title panel. The title panel, of course, it takes in a string, and we can say county disability data, and we are doing what? We are doing visualization. Okay. Then we can put a comma here, and then we can set the sidebar. You remember I showed you the sidebar. The sidebar. I think it's supposed to be the sidebar layout like this. So the sidebar layout is going to have the sidebar panel from Shiny, and then this one we are going to have the select options, or the options in for example in JavaScript we use options. So we are going to select, here we select the input. The input is the variables. They have the variable, and then the placeholder. So we can say select a variable to visualize your data. Okay, so then the other thing is the choice. So we can have the choices, and our choices are going to be a list. It's going to be a list of choices, and to have a list in R, normally use the C character, and this one is going to have site. So you remember I showed you we have the site, we have hearing, we have mobility. This one's supposed to be in quotes. We have mobility, mobility, and then cognition. So we have cognition, and then we have self. What am I typing up? Self-care, and then lastly we have speech. Speech like this. Speech. Okay. I think I can just space out these two new lines. Yeah, I think this one sounds better like this. And then we need to have a default option. For example, you can choose from this list. So you say selected. So we have already selected one of these, which is site, right? Site. And then here we can break and then continue to add the components. So on this side panel, first of all, we have to select the inputs. So we have the variable, which we have here the placeholder, the choices as I have listed here. Then the default one is site. If you say break, then you can continue defining other components that we'll have on this sidebar. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to plot a pie chart or a histogram on this sidebar, still you can do the same. So under the parent sidebar layout, we have the sidebar panel, and then the next one is going to be now the main panel. The main panel, so I say main panel is going to host our map. So here we use, of course, we need to use leaflet because this is where our map is going to be. It's supposed to be leaflet output, and this is going to have our map, and then we can define the dimensions of the map. We have map, it has the height of, can say 600 and something like 80 pixels, 680 pixels, and then the width is going to be something like can say 900 pixels. Okay, so after that we can say that the UI is done. So up to this point we have two sidebars. So on the left we shall have the sidebar panel, which will host our inputs, and then on the right one we shall have the main panel, which will have the leaflet or the map. Then under the logic, this is where we are going to spend much of our time. So here we can say server. The server, we can say this is going to be function, and this function is going to have some arguments. We can have input, we can also have the output, and then we can have the session just in case. As usual, the function is the same almost in all programming languages. This is how we write the function. And then in here we're going to define a reactive value that will store our clicked county, because we are going to click on a map, choose a county, and then use that selected ID to change whether to change the legend, and also to update the map itself, or whatever we shall have on the terminal. Okay, so here I can say selected. I think we need some comment, say we can say create reactive value, and this one will basically be used to store the clicked county, or can say some sort of ID to track our county. Okay, so here you can say selected underscore county is equal to the reactive value, like this, and then of course initially it's going to be null, so we shall use this later on. Down here we are going now to render our map. Okay, so here we need to say output, and this output is going to have map. This map should be the same value that we have passed in here in the leaflet, so it is the map that we are going to use it from here in the leaflet. And this one is going to be render, we are saying render leaflet, and this leaflet is going to have some palette. So we can say palette is equal to some color numeric, and here we are going to define our palette, so the color that we shall display on the map, and this one is going to be palette is equal to the color is Viridish, you can change to something like magma or whatever the color that you want. So I'm going to use Viridish. I think later on I will show you how magma looks like. So Viridish, and then the domain is going to be, of course, our county data. So county data, and we are going to pick our input is going to be the variable, so the variable that we have selected from above. So the variables that we shall be selecting here. So if we choose site, then here it will be site, and then it will use that color to show us the spectral variations on the legend, right? Okay, so we go ahead and have the leaflet. So we can say leaflet, our leaflet, which is going to take the county data, and then you can have this pipe operator, which shows that we are still inside the map output variable. You're going to add provider tiles. So our base map, here we call it provider tiles, and you're going to use OpenStreetMap, and then you can say .map mapnik. I just hope that it will work. Then inside this we can go ahead and then add our polygons. We say add polygons, and in here we are going to add the fill color of our polygon is going to be palette. So we say pal, and this pal will take the county data, of course. Then we shall have the input, and our input is the variable. Our input is the variable, like that. And then the next property is going to be now fill opacity. So fill opacity, we can say something like 0.7, and then the other one is the color. So this is the color of the boundaries, you can say white, and then the weight of the color, this is 1, you can say 1. We're supposed to put a comma here because this is a list of properties. Then we can have the smooth factor, something like 0.5. Then the layer ID is going to be the county, so whatever the county that has been selected. So the county, that we shall be selecting, we'll use this as layer ID. Okay, then we need to have the label, and the label is going to be label. Yeah, the label is going to be, we're going to use lapply. You can look at lapply function. This returns a list of the same length as x, each element of which the result of applying function to the corresponding elements. So if we say apply, so we are going to, it's like we are looping through the values that we have, or the values that we have inside our data set. So we have rows, yeah, we have rows and we have columns. I think we're supposed to view this data first. I just want to show you something here. This data, where is it? County data is here. So we can view, click on view county data. If we run this, you can see we have county, site, hearing, all these variables that we are using. And then at the end, of course, we have the geometry, that's the latitude and longitude, or the multi-polygon. So we have Baringo and then its values, and all these are 47 counties that we have here. So what we are doing down here is we are looping through all these counties. So end row, and in here the end row is of course the county data which we are looping through. Then we can write a function to check whatever the county that we have selected, and then it will return the values as HTML. So think this is like a pop-up. So inside this we can say paste. So the paste is it's like the pop-up in Leaflet that we use in JavaScript. So this way you can say paste, and then you can pass in some HTML here. Then we say strong. This is like saying bold, then county. Then of course we can close the tag just as we do in HTML. Then strong, and then close this. So what we are going to have as the county will be from the county data, and whatever the county that we shall be selecting. So we choose from the list of row or columns, I mean. So as you can see here, it already auto suggests that we need to pick the county and then the county that will be selected, of course. Then here we need we need to break because we want to have the hover effect to display some list of columns that we have. So here again we break from this, and then so we I think this is supposed to be in tags. So break like this, and then we pass in the strong value to display the bold. Then here of course we need the input, and this is going to be the variables. So here these are the variables that we are going to select. So the site, hearing, cognition, etc. Okay, then after that we need the value that will be after the variable. So if it is site, how many people, depending on the county that we have selected. Then we can say strong, then we close. This is supposed to close here. Okay, and then after that we need the county data, and then the input. The input is going to be the variable like this. Yeah, I think we need to remove this one here. Okay, yeah, and of course the variable will be whatever the variable that we shall have chosen from the list of variables that we have. So that is sight, hearing, cognition, self-care, etc. So after this, down here we need to have another pipe operator. Supposed to be like this, and then we need to add the legend. So we say add legend, and of course the legend should have the palette. The palette we already defined as palette or pal. Do not confuse that. The values are going to be county data, and this one will depend on whatever the input that we have selected. So I say input. The input will depend on the variable that we chose. Then the title of the legend is going to be also the input, going to be the input of whatever the variable. Okay, so we want to make this as dynamic as possible. Then position, we can define the position. So normally we have it in the bottom right, bottom right, as one word, like this. Yeah, so this is the logic, just to ensure that we make our web map as interactive and as dynamic as possible. Then we need to click on the map now. So we have done already this. Here we need to click on the map, and then have the selected county displayed. Let me see if everything is okay here. It looks like something is missing here. Where do we close it here? Here the legend. I think this one's supposed to be from here, like this. It's supposed to begin from there, and then down here we need to observe the map click events. So we can say click you can say click events like this. Then you can say observe event, which also comes from Shiny. So it responds with the event like reactive inputs, values, and expressions. Okay, so in here we need to pass in the input, and as we have said, the input will be from map underscore shape. This is just a variable click that we are passing inside this function. So map shape click, and then we say click is going to be a variable. So we say click. When we click on this, we are going to take the shape of the clicked. Then we check that we check if it is not null. So if it is not null, we're going to pass in the click. So if it is not null, then it means we are going to allow the click event on that polygon. Okay, of course we are clicking on the map, so basically we are clicking on the polygon. So I say select, selected county. You remember the selected county that we stored above here inside the reactive element or the reactive function from the Shiny. Yeah, so we are now going to use this. Then we say click, and when we click on it, we pass in the ID of the county. So basically this is going to be the county name. that we stored in the selected county variable. Okay, then after that we can now print this to the console. So we can just say print, and then we say paste like this. Then we say clicked county, clicked county like this. Then we say the clicked ID, so the county name that we have passed in from the selected county like this. I hope this one makes sense. We just want to make this responsive web map. Normally the web maps are responsive. They are not like static maps generated by softwares like QGIS or ArcGIS. So for interactivity, that means we need to make almost everything as dynamic as possible. So here we can now run the application. And to run the application, we're using Shiny. So I say Shiny app, and this we pass in our two functions. So our first function was the UI here, and the second one was the server, so where we have the logic. So we say UI and then server like this. Make sure you save, and then you can highlight almost everything. Say Control A, then you can Control Enter to run the application. So here it says there's some few errors from where say expected this, and it doesn't found the whatever. I think we need to run this line by line so that you can see where the error is. So first let us begin by running this, then we can check the working directory, the list, the county. We have our data, we can transform them, we can run this. The main panel is missing with no default. So this one here, main panel. Let me just confirm something from my finished project. Just a minute. I think this one is supposed to be somewhere here, if I'm not wrong. Do we need a comma here? Let me run this. Yeah, now we are good to go. Let me run the UI. The UI is okay. And then the server says unexpected this in this. What could be the problem? So server, just a minute. Of this one here, we have the render leaflet. The render leaflet ends where? Down there. Let me just confirm something. Oops. So the render leaflet of the legend. What about this? What about this one? We are closing where it does not exist. Okay, so we have this one there. Just a minute, I try to correct this. I think I missed out something. The output map, yeah, let us see the output map next. So then we have the label. So the output map here, it ends there with the legend closing. Then you have this, then I have this. So here I have this. Okay, let me try to run this code again. Let me just make some fixes here. Okay, so I think the problem is here. So make sure this is function, and then also we are supposed to make sure that we are selecting the correct variable. Remember up here, this select input, the variable that we are picking here should resemble this one. So I had made a mistake here to uppercase variable, that is v. Make sure it is lowercase v, because down here, as we are selecting the input, variable is lowercase. Yeah, and make sure everything is as it is in this code. I think those were the only few corrections that I had to make. And now if we go ahead and run, we can repeat to run this. We can run this, and then we can start running line by line. Get working directory. We can then get our shapefile. You can see we have this data, these rows, counties, and then the columns with the name of the county, the variables, and then the geometry. Then we can print out the CRS. So we had already done this, we're just repeating. So if it is unknown, then we go ahead and convert to or reproject to WGS84, and then if we confirm this, we can see it is here. So we are okay to continue the process. So the next thing is to run the user interface. So we run the user interface. As I had said, we have two sidebars. All these are under the sidebar layout. So we have the sidebar panel, which has the select input, and then the main panel, which holds the map from our leaflet. And remember, our leaflet comes with this base map from OpenStreetMap. And then we have the server logic. So this is where we are selecting our inputs to make it as interactive as possible. And then yeah, we have the polygons, which we have the fill color. The fill color is coming from this palette, which is Viridish, and then the legend also. Then we can observe the click event. So when we click on the map, we're supposed to print something on the map, on the console. So here we can run the UI. Then if we run the UI, of course it will run everything inside that function. Then we can also run the logic, and then finally we run the application. Yeah, so the application is running. Yeah, now this is what we have just created. And so we can see we have the title of the map, we have the variables. Our default is site, you remember. We can change to hearing this way, then it dynamically adds this to legend. Remember the input variable. The cognition, we get cognition there. Self-care, get the values there, and also the map changes depending on the variable. Also when you hover on the map, as we have the count name and the value. So this is where we define the HTML and the paste elements. Okay, so if we click on the map, I think I can minimize this, and we watch here on the console. So if I click on the map, you can see we have clicked on this count, which is Meru. So the click ID comes from the selected county, which we stored in a reactive function from Shiny. Yeah, so this was it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like. Also, if there is anything that is not clear, you can raise the questions in the comment section. I'll try to answer as much as I can. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.